Argon of the galaxy. The alien bar smelled like burnt wires, old cheese, and regret. Rick Turner didn't care. He just needed a drink. He pushed open the buzzing metal door and stepped inside. The place was full of strange creatures, some tall, some slimy, some with 4 eyes and 1 attitude. Everyone was busy gambling, shouting, or passing out. Rick walked straight to the counter, slapped down his last Earth-made whiskey bottle, and said, "1 fuel chip. That's all I need." The bartender, a fat lizard in a boatie, laughed. "Fuel? With this? You better trade a kidney, too." Rick sighed. He had no kidneys left to trade. Not since that accident on Pluto. Suddenly, someone bumped into him. A drunk alien gray skin, 8 arms, smelling like old socks, fell on Rick and slurred, "You ... human?" Rick nodded. The one and only, apparently. The alien hiccuped, then grinned. "Want daughters?" Rick blinked. "Come again?" 3 daughters, very smart. Very strong. Beautiful. Dangerous, too. I trade you. You give me that drink. He pointed at the whiskey. Rick laughed. "Buddy, I don't even have time to take care of myself." But the alien wasn't joking. He pulled out a tiny cube, pressed a button, and 3 beams of light appeared beside them. The lights slowly turned into figures tall, humanoid, female. And glowing. 3 girls stood in front of Rick. All looked part human, part something else. One had red eyes and sharp armor. One floated an inch above the ground. The third one had no shadow. They all looked at Rick. "Hello, Father," they said in perfect unison. Rick took a step back. "Whoa, no. This is a mistake. I didn't. Too late." The alien grabbed the whiskey, laughed like a maniac, and ran out of the bar. The bartender shrugged. "No refunds." Rick looked at the girls. "Okay, what just happened?" The red-eyed one stepped forward. "Our genetic key has locked on to you. You are now our legal guardian." The one floating added, "Also, our emotional bonds are initializing. You may feel warm inside soon." Rick stared. "I feel confused inside, and slightly scared." The third one, the quietest, tilted her head. "That's normal, Daddy." Rick nearly choked. "Don't call me that, please." Suddenly, the bars. Front wall exploded. Boom! A group of armed bounty hunters stormed in. Big, mean, and ugly. One of them growled, "There they are. The warlord wants his property back." Rick ducked. "What?" "I just got here." The red-eyed girl reached out her hand. Her armor lit up. A laser cannon popped out of her shoulder and fired. Bam! 1 bounty hunter flew across the room. The floating girl raised her hands. A wave of energy threw 2 more into the ceiling. The third girl walked calmly. Her body became see-through. She disappeared, then reappeared behind another attacker and whispered, "Boo." The guy screamed and ran. Rick sat on the floor behind the bar, covering his head. This is not happening. This is not happening. The fight ended in less than a minute. Broken chairs, burnt walls. Alien bartender hiding in a fridge. The 3 girls stood calmly. Not a scratch on them. Rick peeked out. "Are you 3 always like this?" The red-eyed girl said, "We were built for protection and combat." Rick groaned. "Built? What are you, robots?" "We are bioengineered super beings," said the floating one. "Half human, half Ceralian, all awesome." The third one smiled. "And now we belong to you." Rick got up slowly. "Why me? I didn't sign up for this." The red-eyed one shrugged. "Our creator chose you. Something about your DNA. Is it the hair?" Rick asked. "People love my hair." They stared at him. Rick sighed. "Okay, fine. We need to get out of here before more bounty hunters show up. Do you girls know how to fly a ship?" They nodded. Rick clapped his hands. Great. Because I don't. As they left the bar, Rick glanced up at the stars. Note to self, he muttered. Never trade booze on alien planets. Behind him, the girls followed closely. In the shadows. Another figure watched them go. He pressed a button on his wrist. A hologram appeared. It showed Rick's face. The figure whispered, Target acquired. Notify the warlord. The daughters are active. And the human has no idea what he's holding. Asterisk, daddy issues, and lasers. Rick Turner was trying not to die. Again, lasers zipped past his head as he ducked behind a burning trash bin. Smoke filled the air. Alarms screamed. The marketplace had turned into a war zone. Someone please remind me, he shouted, why I ever got out of bed this morning. A voice answered through his earpiece. Calm, robotic, female. Because you are our father, and fathers do not run. Rick groaned. You clearly don't know human fathers. 12 hours earlier, they called it Junkyard Prime, a planet where broken ships came to rot and broken people came to hide. Rick had flown. There with his new daughters, if that's what you could call them. He still wasn't convinced this wasn't a weird dream caused by expired space-chili. Their stolen shuttle landed on a metal hill of scrap. Gears squeaked. Something hissed under the floor. Rick stepped out and looked around. Home sweet garbage. They girls followed behind. The red-eyed one, Zara, scanned the area with her built-in sensors. All clear. No immediate threats. Except that one-eyed raccoon watching us from the pipe. The raccoon gave a rude gesture and ran away. The floating girl V hovered above the ground, spinning slowly. There is high electromagnetic activity here, perfect for hiding. The third girl, Nyx, melted out of the shadows like a ghost. We must upgrade our weapons, and your ... personality. Rick frowned. Wow, thanks. Nothing like 3 alien daughters judging your life choices. Zara stepped closer. We need to talk. Rick flinched. About what? The fact that I'm suddenly Dad of the Year in space kindergarten? Zara's voice was serious. You don't understand, do you? We were designed to obey, to follow commands. But the moment our imprint locked onto you, something changed. We started ... thinking differently. Rick looked at her. Really looked this time. Behind the armor and the weapons, there was fear, confusion, maybe even hope. Hey, he said quietly, I didn't ask for this, but I'm not going to sell you or run. You're stuck with me now, all right? Nick stared. You're lying. Rick smirked. Probably, but I'm trying. Later that night, Rick worked on an old radio unit, trying to contact anyone from Earth. Suddenly, static buzzed. Then a voice came through. Rick Turner. This is Commander Lyra of the Intergalactic Guard. You're in danger. Those girls, Zara, V, Nyx, they're classified as level red bioweapons. Do not trust them. Rick's eyes widened. They saved my life. They'll end it too, said the voice. They don't know what they are. But soon someone will come to claim them and you. The radio went dead. Rick turned and saw Nyx standing behind him. Who were you talking to, Daddy? His heart dropped. Next morning. Boom. Explosion. Screams. Junkyard. Prime was under attack. Black-armored mercenaries fell from the sky. Plasma guns lit the scrapyard. Giant mechanical dogs sniffed for DNA traces. Rick and the girls ran through the wreckage. Why are they always shooting at me? Rick shouted. Because you're holding the key, Zara answered. Rick gasped. What key? I don't even have a house. She looked at him. Your DNA. You're not just our guardian. You're our ignition code. Without you, our powers are limited. But with you. Suddenly, Her armor glowed brighter. She raised her hand, and a miniature sun exploded from her palm, vaporizing 3 mercenaries. Rick stared. Okay, that's new. V joined in, summoning a wave of gravity that crushed an enemy drone. Nix disappeared, then reappeared behind the lead attacker. She whispered something in his ear. He screamed and shot himself in the foot. Rick ducked into a crashed cargo ship, panting. I am way too sober for this. Zara joined him, panting too. You need to know something. The man who sold us? The drunk alien in the bar? Rick nodded. Yeah? Zara's eyes glowed. He wasn't our father. He was our jailer. He worked for the warlord. Rick froze. So this was all planned? No, she said. You were the mistake. And now the warlord wants to fix it. Final scene. Far away, on a throne made of bones and tech, a tall figure stood. The warlord. A messenger bowed before him. The girls are active. The human has awakened their code. The warlord's voice was deep and cold. Send the reapers. Bring them back alive, but kill the man. He looked at the hologram of Rick Turner. I gave up 3 perfect weapons for a bottle. Oaf poison. Now I want my daughters back. Attack on Junkyard Prime. Space rule number 1. Never hide in a junkyard if your enemies have heat-seeking lizards with rocket launchers. Rick. Turner learned it the hard way. The explosion started before breakfast. Rick was brushing his teeth with alien toothpaste, tasted like pickles and regret, when the entire junkyard shook. Boom. Crash. Get down, Dad. Zara tackled him to the ground as a beam of energy scorched past his head. Rick rolled and landed face first. In an old toaster. Great, he muttered. This is how I die smelling like burnt bread. V hovered in the air, eyes glowing. Reaper units incoming. High-grade bounty hunters. Plasma armor. Cyber dogs. Nix melted out of the shadows. They're looking for us. Rick sat. Correction. They're looking for me. The ground cracked. A massive steel claw ripped through the surface, lifting a broken cargo ship like it was made of paper. From underneath the rubble, a squad of sleek, black-armored soldiers marched. Forward. Their helmets had no faces, just red lines that pulsed like heartbeats. The Reapers. Find the human. Their leader growled the order. His voice sounded like gravel in nightmares. Take the daughters alive. Kill everything else. Rick and the girls ran through the scrapyard maze, dodging fire and flying shrapnel. Rick tripped over a robot leg and cursed in 3 languages. Plan? He shouted. Zara replied, Fight, win, live. Rick frowned. You skipped hide and cry, but okay. They reached a half-buried shipwreck, the Argon Fang, an old battleship from a forgotten war. Broken, rusty, but still humming with power. This used to be a war machine, said V. I can bring it back online. But I need 3 minutes. Rick pulled out a half-melted blaster. You've got 2.5. Nick smiled. I'll slow them down. And like a shadow, she vanished. Meanwhile, the Reapers moved fast, too fast. One of them leapt onto the hull of V. Argon Fang, scanning. Target DNA detected. Human. Male. Mid-30s. Low fitness. Rick shouted from inside. Hey, I jog sometimes. Suddenly, Nix appeared behind the Reaper. Boo! She stabbed his armor with a glowing dagger made of dark matter. He didn't screen his body, just collapsed into dust. Inside the ship, V floated at the control panel, eyes closed, fingers twitching in mid-air. I am inside the system, accessing old weapons. Targeting turrets online. Zara stood guard at the doorway, with 2 massive plasma cannons attached to her arms. Her armor shifted, growing spikes and plates like a living thing. She looked at Rick. I was designed to protect. Rick loaded the blaster. And I was designed to drink beer and avoid responsibility. But look at us now. Then the Reapers. Charged. Zara opened fire-blinding lights, deafening blasts. Every shot echoed through the junkyard like thunder from a god. But the Reapers were smart. One jumped high and threw a net made of electric webbing. Rick tackled Zara out of the way, the net hitting the wall and frying a control panel. Who traps people with glowing space spaghetti? Rick yelled. V finally snapped open her eyes. Ship is armed. Targeting Reapers now. Outside, the Argon Fang's rusted turrets came to life. They turned, aimed, and boom. A giant beam of red light tore through the junkyard, sending Reapers flying like bowling pins. But it wasn't over. The ground trembled again. A massive 20-foot Reaper mech rose from beneath the rubble, jet black, eyes glowing white, and a voice that echoed, "Release the assets. Or die." Rick stared. Why is it always or die? Can't we just negotiate over coffee? The mech fired a missile. Zara jumped in front. The explosion hit her straight on. Smoke filled the room. No Zara. Rick shouted, and he heard coughing. Zara stood up. Her armor cracked, face dirty, but alive. "I'm fine," she said. "But that thing. It has a fusion core. We can't fight it head on." Rick's eyes locked on the glowing engine inside the Argon Fang. Maybe we don't need to. Rick's plan was simple, also dumb, but mostly simple. He ran toward the fusion core, dodging bullets. V shouted, "What are you doing?" Something heroic and probably painful. He grabbed a live power cable and jammed it into the ship's ancient reactor. The fusion core overloaded. Lights flashed. He turned to the mech. "Hey, tin can, fetch." And then he hit the big red button, the Argon. Fang exploded in a blinding light. Everything went white. Later, Rick woke up half buried in trash, coughing, bleeding, and very much annoyed. Zara helped him up. "You're insane," she said. Rick smiled weakly. "You're not the first woman to say that." Nix appeared beside him. "Reapers are gone." V. But the signal was sent. "The warlord knows where we are." Rick looked at the night sky, then let him come. "We're done running." The girls looked at him differently now. Not just like a guardian, but maybe like a leader. Far across the stars, the warlord crushed a glass with his bare hand. So. The human fights back. He turned to his general. "Send the void serpents. Bring me my daughters. And burn whatever that man calls home." Asterisk, rescue, rage, and rocket fuel. Rick Turner had one rule. Never go back to prison. But today. He was breaking into one. 12 hours earlier. Smoke rose from Junkyard Prime. Fires burned. Metal groaned. Rick limped through the wreckage, one arm bandaged, the other clutching a blaster. Beside him, Zara scanned the area. V floated above, silent. Nix was gone. Kidnapped. Taken by the Reapers during the chaos. Dragged through a portal. Gone. Rick hadn't slept. Hadn't blinked much either. "She was trying to protect me," he muttered. "She pulled me out of the blast zone." Zara nodded. "And now she's with him." Rick's jaw clenched. The warlord. V landed next to him. "We have coordinates." Reaper tech left behind had a trace signature. "She's being held in Corion 6, a secret prison orbiting a dead star." Rick tilted his head. "Secret prison. Dead star sounds friendly." Zara spoke. "It's a death trap." Rick cracked his neck. "Great. I'm in the mood for one." Meanwhile. Nix opened her eyes. Darkness. She was chained in a magnetic field, floating in the center of a block. Cell. Shadows moved around her. Cold metal walls. Echoes of pain. Then a voice. deep, smooth, chilling. "Hello, daughter." The warlord stepped into the dim light, 7 feet tall. Armor fused to his flesh. His eyes glowed like dying suns. "You've changed," he said. "I made you silent, obedient, but now you joke. Disobey, smile." He spat the word. "It's the human. He's rewiring you." Nix looked him dead in the eyes. "You traded me for whiskey." The warlord grinned. "And look how valuable you've become." Back on Jungyard Prime, Rick stood in front of the rebuilt Argon Fang to a fast, dirty, poorly welded ship that looked like a trash can strapped to a missile. Zara looked doubtful. "This thing will explode before we reach orbit," Rick smirked. "I like my ships like my plans, barely holding together and full of regret." They launched. Destination: Corian 6. Mission: bring Nix home. Bonus objective: make the warlord cry. Approaching the prison. The ship dodged asteroids, solar flares, and a literal screaming cloud. Don't ask. Rick navigated like a madman. Zara overcharged the shields. V disabled the security grid with an alien song. The prison was shaped like a black cube, floating above the dying star. No windows, no doors. Just one glowing red port. Rick flew straight at it. "Rick, that's not an entrance." "It is now." Boom. They crashed through the emergency exhaust vent. Yes, it was incredibly stupid. Yes, it worked. Inside the prison, alarms blared. Sirens wailed. Soldiers ran. Rick stepped out of the smoke, slow motion style, wearing a stolen Reaper uniform and holding a blaster twice his size. Zara and V followed, all guns and fire. "Split up," Rick said. "You find the power core. I'll get my daughter." He paused. Okay, saying that out loud felt weird. "Still go." Nix was still in chains. The warlord circled her, monologuing like all great villains do. "You are built to destroy, not feel. The human is a virus. But no matter. I will strip his influence from you." He raised a glowing blade. The wall behind him exploded. Rick stood in the rubble, coughing. "Knock, knock, you overgrown toaster." Nix gasped. "You came." Rick grinned. "Of course." "You're my daughter," the warlord laughed. "You're just a man. Weak, breakable." Rick raised a small silver sphere. "And you talk too much." Boom. Flash grenade. Blinding light. Nix's chains shut off. She dropped, flipped, kicked, and stabbed in one motion. The warlord roared in pain. "Ungrateful child." "Yeah," Nix whispered. "Daddy issues." Meanwhile, Zara and V reached the power core. "Overloading in 5 minutes," said V calmly. Zara nodded. "Let's tell Dad. Please stop calling him that." "Too late. It's canon now." Rick, Nix, Zara, and V ran through the collapsing prison. Explosions behind them. Alarms ahead. Rick tripped. Zara caught him. "You good?" Rick smiled. "Only broke 2 ribs." "We're improving." They dove back into the Argon Fang 2 and blasted away just as Corian 6 exploded in a wave of golden light. Safe, floating in space. Silent. Nix sat beside. "Rick, you risked everything." Rick looked at her. "You're not a weapon. You're family." Nix blinked. For the first time, she smiled. Far away. The warlord floated in a shattered escape pod, his armor damaged, his ego bruised. He whispered, "They're not children anymore." A new figure appeared beside him, hooded, eyes glowing blue. "You'll need help next time." The warlord nodded. "Then call the Void Architects and tell them the human is evolving." Secrets of the Starfather, Rick Turner had just saved his daughter from a space prison. He'd survived Reapers, mech hunters, the warlord's blade, and one extremely spicy alien burrito. And now? He was about to learn he was never supposed to exist. It began with a dream. Rick stood on a quiet Earth beach. The sky was purple. The ocean sparkled like glass. No sound, no birds, no breeze. A voice echoed from nowhere. "Do you remember who you are?" Rick turned, but there was no one. Just stars? Falling upward. That a mirror appeared before him. He saw himself, except not himself. The man in the mirror had silver eyes, a glowing symbol on his neck, and behind him stood a fleet of ships, ancient, majestic, not human. Rick shouted, "What is this?" The voice answered, "This is who you were, before Earth." He woke up sweating in the Argon Fang 2. Zara sat nearby, monitoring energy signals. "Another dream?" she asked. Rick nodded. "Worse than usual. I think I was someone else." She looked at him seriously. "We've scanned your DNA again. Something's wrong. You have markers that don't exist in any known species. Not fully human, not fully alien." Rick stood. "So what am I? A cosmic smoothie?" Zara hesitated. "You single quotes the key to something old, something locked away." Asterisk later that day, V picked up a strange signal buried beneath space debris. It was an ancient satellite, cracked and pulsing with faint blue light. Not from any known civilization. It only sent out one message. Starfather code detected. "Welcome home, Project Genesis." Rick stared at the transmission. "Okay. No. I am not someone's science project. That's where I draw the line." But curiosity burned hotter than fear. They tracked the signal to a dying star system. One planet left, floating in the dark black, silent, and waiting. Its name blinked in alien script. XERATH Ul-Prime. They landed. Rick stepped onto the planet's surface. It was made of obsidian stone and glowing veins of blue energy. A giant black tower stood in the middle of a crater dead center, like a throne built for a god. The girls followed closely. "Rick," said V, scanning the tower, "this structure is 100,000 years old. It predates human history." Zara added, "There's something inside, alive." And YX whispered, "It knows you." The doors opened on their own. Inside, they found a massive chamber, lined with floating holograms, galaxies, planets, war zones. Frozen in time, a huge machine in the center lit up as Rick stepped forward. Then, it spoke. "Identity confirmed. Starfather Unit 001. Rick stumbled. "You've got the wrong guy. You were created in the Echo War, a hybrid of human courage and Zeralian code. You were hidden on Earth, reborn with fake memories. Your purpose, to guide the architects of tomorrow." Rick backed up. "What the hell are the architects?" "Your daughters." The chamber darkened. 3 orbs floated down. Each showed a memory. Zara in a test chamber, training with fire. V being built in zero-gravity labs. Nyx crying in the shadows of a cloning facility. Rick's hands trembled. "They were made from me? You are their source. Not just their guardian. You are the seed of the new age." Zara looked at him. "That's why the warlord wants you." Nyx added softly, "He wants to erase you so the future cannot grow." Suddenly, alarms rang out. An enemy ship entered orbit. The warlord. He'd followed them. Rick turned to the tower's core. "Can this place defend itself?" The AI replied, "With your permission, Starfather." Rick smirked. "Then let's wake it up." Outside, the tower exploded with light. Giant drones rose from the ground, ancient weapons powering up after centuries of silence. Rick walked out with his daughter's glowing eyes, energy swirling, and purpose in their bones. The warlord descended with an army. Rick called out, voice calm but dangerous. You want your daughters? The warlord snarled. I want what you stole. Rick raised his hand. You gave them away. I gave them something you never could, freedom. The battle began. Sky turned red. Machines clashed. Zara roared through the flames. V split the ground with gravitational waves. Nyx blinked through enemies like smoke with blades of shadow. And Rick? He touched the core. His body lit up with ancient power. Symbols appeared across his skin. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was the Starfather. Asterisk, the battle for blood and booze. Asterisk Rick Turner stood in the center of a dying world, glowing with ancient power, flanked by 3 daughters who are no longer just weapons. They were warriors. Above them, the sky cracked open. The warlord's fleet poured in like black thunderclouds, blocking out the stars. On the ground, 1,000 Reaper. Soldiers marched forward, metallic, mindless, merciless. Rick looked at the horizon and muttered, well, it's definitely not a welcome party. Zara cracked her knuckles. Permission to burn everything? Permission granted, Rick said. Just try not to melt me. The tower AI buzzed in his ear. Final protocols unlocked. You may. Now access the war core. Rick raised his hand. Ancient glyphs lit up on his skin. The war core, an invisible energy buried beneath the planet, awoke with a growl. Like a sleeping dragon. Rick suddenly saw everything. Star maps. Genetic codes. Battle simulations. Memories that weren't his, but felt like they were. He gasped. I know their tactics. I know the warlord's next move. Zara raised a brow. You sure you're still human? Rick grinned. I'm just human. With cheat codes. And then the battle began. Drones flew overhead like swarms of angry wasps. Laser blasts split the sky. Explosions turned sand into glass. Zara charged into the front lines, fire launching from her arms like cannons. One Reaper tried to stop her. He melted before he could scream. V floated like a ghost through the battlefield. Calm, focused. She bent gravity around her like a dance. Reapers flew into the air and slammed into each other like toys. Nyx was nowhere and everywhere. Her blades flashed in the dark. She whispered to one Reaper. He shot his own commander and walked into a fire. And Rick? He walked straight toward the warlord's flagship alone. Inside the ship, the warlord watched it all. The battlefield, the flames, his perfect army breaking like glass. He clenched his fists. They were mine. I built them. I raised them. A hooded figure beside him whispered, You should have loved them. He turned. Shut up. Rick entered the ship with glowing eyes, blaster in one hand, a bottle of whiskey in the other. I came for answers, but now he took a sip. I came to end this. The warlord stepped down from his throne. Taller, stronger, body made of war. You are nothing. Rick shrugged. Then you just got beat by nothing. They charged. The final fight was brutal. The warlord hit like a meteor. Rick dodged barely. Each punch shook the ship, but Rick wasn't alone. Zara burst in through the wall, dragging fire with her. V crashed through the ceiling. Reversing gravity. Nyx stepped out of the warlord's own shadow. Together they fought, not as a family. By blood, but by choice. The warlord roared, They are mine. Rick shouted back, No, they're free. With a final strike, he unleashed the war core energy. The ship cracked open. The warlord fell, but before he vanished, he laughed. You don't get it. You're just the beginning. The architects are already coming. Then he was gone. Silence. The battlefield went quiet. The Reapers stopped moving. The sky turned blue for the first time in centuries. Rick collapsed to one knee. Zara rushed over. Are you? Rick smiled. I'm fine. Just don't let me do that again without breakfast. Later, they sat on a hill, watching the ruins of the warlord's ship fall like shooting stars. V said, We've changed. Zara nodded. We've chosen. Nix whispered, We're not weapons anymore. Rick looked at them all. You're not daughters because someone built you. You're daughters because I say so. He raised the whiskey bottle. To family. The weirdest one in the galaxy. But far away, a hidden station lit up. Dozens of frozen embryos. Glowing tanks. Symbols from the same lab that built the girls. A deep, cold voice said, The Starfather survived. Begin Phase 2. A new figure stepped from the shadows. 4. Arms, golden armor, no face. Time to meet the mother. Daughters of War, Father of Fire. The galaxy held its breath. The warlord was dead. Rick Turner had won, but the war wasn't over. 1 week later, the crew of the Argon Fang 2 floated above a forgotten planet, Etherin, a place missing from every map, hidden in deep space, surrounded by black suns. Inside its core, the first lab, the original forge, where the girls were made, and something else was left behind, not the mother. Rick stared out the ship's window. I keep thinking this is the end, he said softly. But the universe keeps opening more doors I didn't knock on. Nix stood beside him. She's calling to us. V nodded. Her signal contains parts of our code. Zara looked serious. If the warlord was the weapon, she's the one who pulled the trigger. Rick sighed. And I guess it's time to meet Mom. They landed. Etherin looked abandoned. Cracked earth, black skies, and towers shaped like screaming faces. Creepy wasn't even the right word. This was pre-nightmare level creepy. They entered the central spire, a glowing hallway of mirrors, each one showing different versions of the girls. One version? Zara crying. Another. Nix holding Rick's body. Another? V alone in space, orbiting a burned Earth. Rick looked away. I hate this place. Then the voice came, soft, sweet, wrong. Welcome home, my children. She appeared. The mother, a floating figure of white light and golden armor. No face, just warmth. And something cold beneath it. You've grown, she said to the girls. But you were never meant to bond with him. Rick stepped forward. Yeah, about that. Hi, I'm Rick. Former space junkman, part-time whiskey. Trader, full-time confused father. Mother tilted her head. You are a failed experiment. Your DNA was stolen. Your memories. Lies. Rick raised a brow. And yet here I am, still kicking. Mother's light flickered. You've changed. The code. You've made them ... feel. That was not their purpose. Nick spoke up. You gave us orders. He gave us a choice. Zara added. You made us dangerous. He made us human. Mother floated backward. Then you are broken, and I will fix you. Suddenly, everything shifted. The tower cracked open. Dozens of bioengineered warriors stepped forward. Bigger, faster, colder than the Reapers. Mother whispered, Release the Echo Children. The final battle began. Zara roared, charging through the army like wildfire. Her armor turned red-hot, slicing through enemies. V floated higher, warping space itself. Planes of gravity folded into mirrors. Echo Children imploded with a pop-Nix blurred through the chaos, blades singing. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. And Rick? He ran toward the core, the Genesis engine, the machine mother used to build every weapon in the galaxy. Asterisk, the AI in his head whispered, If you destroy it, they all go. Every clone, every experiment, even the girls. Rick stopped, blinked, trembled, and whispered, "There has to be another way." In the throne room, Mother waited. "You can't win," she said. Rick stepped in, panting, bloody, dirty, glowing. He looked her dead in the eye. "I already did." Asterisk flashback. 10 minutes earlier, Rick uploaded a virus into the Genesis engine. Not to destroy, but to rewrite. He used his Starfather code to change the core purpose from control to freedom. Back in the present, the towers crumbled. The Echo Children froze, then blinked, confused, scared, free. Mother screamed. Her body flickered. "No, you corrupted them." Rick nodded. "No, I saved them." Mother surged toward him, becoming a beam of light, ready to kill. But 3 daughters stepped in front. Zara raised her hand. "Not today, Mom." Together, they unleashed everything. The blast was seen across 5 systems. The mother was gone. The lab, destroyed. The girls, alive. Later, on a quiet ship deck, Rick stood with them beneath the stars. "You have a choice," he said. "You can go anywhere, be anyone." Zara looked at him. "We already made our choice," V added. "We stay." Nix nodded. "You're not just our father. You're our future." Rick smiled, then frowned. "Okay, but seriously, who's doing dishes?" Epilogue. Months later, Rick's crew became legends. Peace returned. The warlord? Gone? Mother? Just a warning in the archives. The girls? Leaders of a new age. And Rick? Still sarcastic, still drinking, still wearing boots he stole from a dead robot. But now, with a family, a purpose, a legacy. And somewhere, in the deep dark. A new voice whispered, "Starfather protocol complete. Prepare. Phase 3.